Yeah, so where do we begin? Financial advisor, what does that mean then?
Well, here we are again, looking at a possible restructuring at Kaisa. Yeah. It's a blast from the Kaisa, from Kaisa itself, but it's also a blast from the past from the kind of mad year that we've seen with all of these defaults. I think when it comes to Kaisa, the really kind of key thing to watch here is this debt restructuring plan. They don't go into specifics in the filing itself, but I think we can assume that it's this Lazard Group representing bondholders that has already presented this potential financing plan. And it does look like a difficult deal to get across the line. There are several different options that are being proposed. They would need this sort of acceptance of bondholders from across the curve, and there are nearly $12 billion worth of outstanding dollar debt here. It is an incredibly complicated situation to sort of resolve, but that's, I think, the really key thing. And of course, we still want more clarity from Kaisa. It's one thing hiring advisors, but actually how you intend to deal with the restructuring at costs a really large curve like this will be really interesting for many, many offshore investors, partly because Kaisa itself, although it might not present a restructuring precedent for other defaulters in this situation, it is interesting that, you know, as one of the only developers to have defaulted and successfully come back to market, it is very historically closely watched as a sort of example of success after running in these type of troubles.
And some of the other names we continue to watch, of course, Choong, that, I guess, fire sale to try and raise funds continues.
Absolutely. So Choong, I think, unlike Evergrande or Kaisa, where we had these sort of very long-awaited defaults or long-awaited stress events, Choong has really taken many investors by surprise, and it's a very, very popular name among institutional investors. It's very unexpected that a name that would be deemed for so long to be as strong as Choong would run into trouble. Of course, we also saw further downgrades. It lost that final investment grade status, and Moody's cutting it further into junk. So things are certainly not looking particularly strong for Choong. Whether or not it can continue to raise cash through asset sales like this, they do look rather small in size. And Choong has quite a chunk of, again, offshore dollar debt coming due through the next year. And much like many of the sort of stories of these developers, this is all about the dollar debt. Developers have not had access to the primary market to roll over and refinance all of this offshore debt. And therefore, really, it has been mainly global investors that have felt a lot of the pain when it comes to rising defaults and rising stress among property firms.